Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience with my absence while I was out. I appreciate that. I'm doing a lot better. So I apologize for my absence. But let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, it looks like. Any disclosures of conflicts of interest?
Thanks.
Hearing none. Let's move on to our approval of our July 19th. What?
Meeting minutes. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I assume that's what it was. Any modifications, changes, or edits, or otherwise I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes as presented.
All in favor? Or
Aye.
wait, sorry, second.
Second.
Thank you.
Aye.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I haven't been to
Aye.
a meeting in 2 months, can you tell?
Rusty, okay.
Yeah, a little rusty. Okay, financial update, treasurer's report, Miss Treasurer.
Sorry, I muted myself again. So sorry about the update. There was missing salary information in there, and so that got updated. Nothing really.
A really hard time hearing you.
You're having a hard time hearing me? All right, hold on.
Sound muffled.
The acoustics in my office aren't very good.
That's better, whatever you did.
I moved closer. Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So the month obviously looks pretty bad because we didn't have a ton of income come in for the month. But of course have expenses, so that does lag a little bit. But outside of the broadband expenses, there really wasn't anything significant. There was also no significant changes on the balance sheet. Just by a few dollars here and there. Accounts receivable, you can see majority of that is Archuleta County and then a few others. And so none of that's really aged except for the few on the bottom. So Emily, I don't know what that looks like or why it's, over 3 months old. Do we have any thoughts about contacting them?
One of them is an actual credit where it says negative $30 because Studs Lumber paid twice for a workforce development training that we had last year.
Okay.
TBK, I have tried to follow up a few times on membership and haven't gotten anywhere. And then Visionary Broadband just recently agreed to renew their membership. We just need to delete that invoice because it's actually dated last year and invoice them this year. But we just had that connection at our broadband meeting that we held earlier this month. But other than that, everything else is fresh. Or I also have a couple of bills out right now that are to reimburse us for the CDL class that we held. And that's for Pagosa, Peak Open Schools, and Phoenix Recycling.
Okay. Do we have a policy anywhere about how long we hold on to that AR?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how old TBK Bank is. It just says over 90. So I don't know how old that is. So we may just as an organization want to look at that because I don't know if we consider them active members, if they're just sitting there with the AR or if their benefits are cut off if they don't pay at a certain point.
I don't actually, if they, like this is from, I want to say November or December membership. And so I don't actually, for TBK, I don't actually like give them membership benefits. They're not on the website or anything, but I never want to lose track of them because I want to continue to try to recover that relationship or that membership. And then Visionary Broadband, because that company sold it kind of got lost in translation, but we have recovered that at this point. So
Okay.
I think we'll have to write off, I don't know if we just delete that 500 or if we write it off.
You write it off.
Okay.
Yeah, if they agreed to it, I would write it off.
Well, they agreed to become a member this year, but that over 90 days would have been last year.
And well, we're talking about a calendar year, so yeah, I don't know how many over 90 days, but I mean, technically that could be still this year. I just
Yeah.
don't know how old it is.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look.
Okay,
And then if I don't have to write it off and I can still use it as a viable invoice for them, then I will.
okay. Does anybody have any inherent questions on the P&L? I mean, year to date, we're still profitable, not a lot, but we're still profitable, 45,000 right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of the run grant still coming in. I know our interns here are, I think our last one is, today is their last day, so, but
I have a question.
sure.
It's a positive number, not a negative.
I know you're good, Emily, but I'm trying to figure out how you were able to get the bank to pay us money to have a credit balance under bank expenses.
So we did talk to the accountant about that, and it was actually a transfer of money from one account to another, and that's just how they posted it. We specifically asked about that when we met.
That transfer of money from one account, how would that create a negative balance in that account?
I agree with you. It really should have been a balance sheet transfer. But somehow the way they posted it, it ended up like that.
Wait, who posted it? The bank or
The
the
accountant.
accountant?
The accountant.
The accountant.
And where does it belong?
I think that my understanding is it was just moving money from one account to like one bank to another bank. Am I correct, Emily?
Yeah, that's when we took on the initiative 1A and we transferred money out of our unrestricted account to a restricted bank account to help fund that campaign. If you all recall that approval that we did that, and that is part of that.
The reason it's an expense is because it's a liability as a restricted account.
Yeah, so it should have gone back to, no,
It should have just transferred from a unrestricted to a restricted on the balance sheet.
right,
Yeah,
that's all it was. Because the funds that we set aside for the 1A roads initiative had to be in a restricted account and only for campaign use. Because we had to file campaign finance rules and regulations and reports.
So probably what we should do, I don't know exactly what happened there. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, Sherry, on this, but it really should have just moved from an unrestricted to a restricted. And then when they use the money, it should hit an expense account, not a negative. I don't understand.
they missed one side of the transaction
Yeah.
because the funds aren't showing as restricted funds on the balance sheet.
Right.
Because it was a completely separate account that was completely expended and it has closed.
Still doesn't make sense, Emily.
I'm with you, but the accountant outrules me, sir.
Why? I think at the very least, we'd like a written explanation from the accountant then, because I don't agree with that. And obviously Shelley doesn't either.
Or do I?
Well,
Does it
we
make
met with
accounting-
him and we both walked away and said, I guess this is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I really didn't ever understand why they did it exactly that way. It was almost like they just took it off the balance sheet and hit a negative expense.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
No, it's not right. But we can readdress it. Maybe Emily, we can set up a call with him and readdress that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, guys, when did you move the location on me? For the meeting?
Um,
A few months ago.
Like,
Oh,
like 8 months ago.
Where did you go, Bruce?
I went back to
Remember?
where we've been having it there at the,
Oh, it was in a different room. It's just in a different room. It's still in the same building.
No, I think he went to the tourism place.
yeah,
Oh,
to
the
the
chamber.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I didn't see you back there. I was waiting. We've been meeting here for 8 months.
8 months, yeah.
Oh,
Has it been that long since we've seen you in person, Bruce?
it must be.
Well, we're at the rec center. You want to just drive down the street?
Well, I can do that. I'll be down there in a few minutes.
Okay, see you in a minute.
No voting till he
Alright.
gets back.
You have a quorum without him.
Okay. Any other questions for Shelley? Anything else any other financial highlights, Ms. Treasurer?
There really isn't. I mean, we really just have membership income, broadband and support from the county. A few grants here and there, and then all the expenses that go with them. So and staff. So there's not a ton of change from month to month. It's pretty consistent. It's just, sometimes the broadband expense is, we expend it and then we get the reimbursement later. So there's some timing issues there too. So.
All right, well, thank you for that. With that information, I will entertain a motion to accept and approve the financials as presented.
Can we do it now that Bruce left?
Yes, we still have a quorum.
I make the motion.
Thank you. Second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Miss Emily, you're up.
Okay, well, I think you all know that I've been on vacation for a little while, so my report is not robust, but that's okay. We didn't drop any balls while I was out of town, and everything kept moving smooth, so that's good. First, I want to share with you that Patty is going to be leaving us. She has some aging parents that we all have experienced, I'm sure, in our lifetime that are in severe need of some help in Phoenix, Arizona. And she could do part-time, but I just think that's going to be so hard to travel back and forth and do part-time. And then that doesn't serve the organization at the need that we absolutely need it to be. So we have put a listing in the paper. We're sorry to see her go, but we all understand that aging parent piece. It's very difficult. As a matter of fact, Rosanna, you are where in Philadelphia?
I am visiting my 97-year-old grandmother who has just recently been put on comfort care. So not quite hospice, but likely my goodbye trip.
Yeah, but where are you located right now?
Outside of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah, I thought she said.
Yeah.
So it happens to all of us. Don't feel bad. It happens and you're doing the right thing. Go take care of your family. You don't get this time back. So I have posted some ads that you'll see it in the newspaper. You'll see it in LinkedIn. We put it on a community page. We're hoping to get somebody in here. She has committed to staying on until we can get somebody hired, as long as nobody falls and breaks a hip between now and then. I mean, it's reality. So we'll be looking for a new person again. So keep your ears and eyes open and send them our way. We met with Pueblo Community College early in July, but they're kind of out of school and they're just starting to come back. And so nothing has moved there. Our workforce innovation grant, we have finally, while I was in the airport in Miami, was on a call with Beth and CDLE. We were supposed to have our grant contract in February and we still don't have the final draft. And we could not release any of our funds until we had the final draft. So but we didn't want to hold up our program. So what we ended up doing is we met on the phone virtually with them, got through a hiccup. And what the hiccup was, is we explained that we wanted 10% of the grant to be administration. Except I am currently being paid by a grant. And so we can't put funds towards administration to fund me. We would have had to put it towards to fund her. So we had to change the wording of how this money could be spent, but that was the hiccup the whole time, is we can't have two grants fund the same thing. And because I am currently grant funded, they would not move the grant forward. We got that worked out. We've received our copy. We have signed off. It is now in their hands. We're just waiting for one more signature, but we were authorized to go ahead and start issuing payments. We did that starting the 1st of August. We have started to pay out all those grant funds. And then as soon as our contract comes in, which should be this week, actually, then I know how to go get recuperated. But I could not leave the business hanging out there, waiting for money. I had a couple businesses that were like, look, we wouldn't have taken these interns on if we had to front the money this long. And we didn't want to leave anybody in that situation. We didn't want to leave a bad taste in anybody's mouth. So we just slid in right in the nick of time and were able to get those funds reimbursed. So we were pretty thrilled that that all got worked out right at the nick of time. We held a CDL training with 8 participants. All 8 participants passed the class and are now full CDL drivers.
Yay.
Yeah, we were pretty excited about that. And only a little bit of our funding from our grant will go towards the CDL. We did a cost share with the people and with the grant. And then we also had part of a grant that came from Region 9 that helped defer all those costs. So all of these CDL drivers were able to get their CDL for about $3,300 per person. The normal cost for that is anywhere between $6,000 and $9,000. There was 1 county representative, 2 town representatives, and then the rest were independent business representatives. So we feel like that was a great use of our work. We are continuing to partner with Build Pagosa on grant applications. I don't know if you all know, but Chris Salisbury has left the county to go on her year-long trip. She is working on a doctorate in workforce something. And I know I'm saying the wrong word and I just can't find it today. Anyway, she's working on her doctorate. She'll be gone for a year. So the CDC has taken on the grant writing role for Build Pagosa. Beth has been working on a Colorado Now application that opened on the 10th of August, closes on the 24th. So we helped with the first Colorado Now. We also helped with the CDBG grant that they got. So this is an easy lift for us. We have all the information. We helped do all the work on round number 1 with the real heavy lift on. So this should be pretty easy. We also, I've been working with TOR quite a bit. We have had 3 funders reach out to us after philanthropy days. And we are working on getting some grant funding through 3 different funders. One is Betcher Foundation. Yeah, and I'm not going to get the other 2 today either. So that's all moving in a really good direction, and we are almost at the halfway point of a $6 million fundraising to get the building started. Once we get past that halfway point, there are funders that just wait till you get to the halfway point and you can start your project and then they'll come in. So we have several of those lined up and we're just trying to get over that halfway mark. We're pretty close right now. Broadband, our $2 million EIAF grant work is closing out right now. We are tying up loose ends. We did get the county to approve and sign off on the long-term lease for the CNL building. It's on my list of things to do this week to get the electric established for that building. And then we have also started the CNL location downtown. One thing I want to bring to your attention is the CNL building downtown would not fit into this first $2 million grant. You have seen on our balance sheet that we have a restricted broadband account of $25,000. That account is starting to get tapped into because that was designated for this downtown CNL building. So the CNL downtown is located in Town Hall. The police department gave us a closet that we now put an outdoor access on and restricted for broadband. So we'll have a key code there, and then we just recently bought some cameras and some equipment to put in there. And then we have construction starting to secure the walls and make them fireproof and all of that. Make sure the air circulation is just right in there. That all will be happening in the next couple of months. And then we also were the host town on the 26th of July of the State Broadband Roadshow. So we had the State Broadband office here in Pagosa. Patty and Beth hosted it at the Tennyson Center, and we had, this was the Region 9 State Broadband Roadshow. So that was very cool. They're talking about the BEADS funding that is coming down the pipe, broadband equity, something. I really did have a good vacation. I forgot where I lived and what I did and where I work. And anyway, the BEADS funding is going to open up in December. We have to work with ISPs to the last mile provider is going to be the applicant, but it'll feed back to the middle mile. So they were here to talk about that process, how that funding is going to work. And we hosted all of Region 9. So broadband related people from Cortez, Montezuma County, San Juan County, La Plata, all came to Pagosa. We were pretty thrilled to be the host for that. So that went really well. And we are waiting to get the final word from both of our ISPs, Zito and Visionary, on CPF funding. This is capital projects funding through the broadband office. These applications only open up once a year. They're about to open up at the beginning of September, but we want to have calculated plans with both of our ISPs of where are they going, who do they want to serve, so that we can factor that into our 5-year strategic plan. We know where our target markets are, we know where they currently are, and we know what makes sense. And they need to partner with us to be able to do those applications. So Eric and I are working very closely with both ISPs. They both are in their due diligence phase, and they will be back to us, I would say this week, if not next week, because the application opens September 1st. Our goal is to, of course, get as much capital project funding. It's a grant into Archuleta County to help us build out this middle mile. The 4-way partnership, this MOU continues to work. They had a meeting scheduled for the 20th of July. It got canceled due to other meetings that were happening in La Plata County. They did just have a meeting on Monday, August the 14th. Our county attorney and Eric were both at that meeting, and we have brought forward just a couple of issues that we see with the 4-way agreement, with ownership and maintenance and all of that. And just what the hardest part for this 4-way agreement is that we have 2 municipalities, a utility company and a sovereign nation, and all of their attorneys in the room at the same time. And so if we can even get this done in a year, I think it'll be astounding. But just know that between our county attorney and Eric, we are really watching out for the best interest of Archuleta County in this entire plan, but also trying to be a good partner and a good neighbor, because we neighbor with both La Plata County and the Southern Ute Tribe. And of course, La Plata Electric is our utility company. So we're trying to play really nice in the sandbox, but yet still watch out for the best interest of Archuleta County. So that is going, I would like it to go a little better, but I'm a little impatient. We also have just presented this week to the county, Board of County Commissioners. I'm gonna go back and visit the beads funding that is coming out of the state. That is actually money that is sent down to the state from the president. And I want to say it's $46 million coming to the state of Colorado out of the Infrastructure Act funds. Because it's federal funding, they want to ask for a letter of credit from anyone who's going to apply for this beads funding. When we applied for the NTIA application, 66 million across Region 9, that application I was telling you about, they asked for a letter of credit. Well, there's not a bank in this area at all, even in this state, that could provide us a letter of credit for $66 million. So we have asked the Board of Commissioners to sign on to an effort from Region 9 that we are asking the state and the feds to eliminate that letter of credit qualification for all beads applications. The county commissioner saw the value in signing on to this letter, appealing that piece of this infrastructure. We in Region 9 altogether will not be able to provide that kind of security for this funding that's supposed to help rural Colorado. There's not anybody in rural Colorado that can adhere to that qualification. So because all of the projects that we'll be applying for with beads have multiple arms on them, they will be multiple extensions of the middle mile to get to the home fibers. So we'll work with Visionary and Zito here, you know, La Plata Electric and or La Plata County and Montezuma County have their own ISPs. It's just not possible for us to even go after that funding if we have to come up with a letter of credit. It just doesn't work.
Emily, if I may, according to what I understand from Todd, our attorney, that's against the state, goes against the state constitution.
It does.
So we can't, even if we want to,
Yeah,
or even if we could get a letter, we still can't.
right. So it's very clunky, and we're hoping that the state gets it all worked out by the end of the year when the beads application open, and hopefully it doesn't push any deadlines out. But we're keeping our eye on that. I just can't be more pleased to again tell you that the BOCC is really standing behind the broadband efforts, and they voted unanimously to sign that letter and send it on. So they are already on their way to legislators. The EDO grant that we were awarded of $33,000. Before I went on vacation, I got the scope of work all written up. And then it got put on hold due to my vacation because the other person was on vacation before I left, and they came back, and then I was on vacation. So we'll be going after this week and get that sewed up. And so you'll have a better timeline next month, and then expected date of completion. That'll give us plenty of time to both be off vacation and get back into it. The manufacturer that I was talking to about moving their business to Archuleta County has resurfaced with some favorable information that they have some grant funding that they are looking to plant a seed. So we're going to be meeting next week, and we'll see where this goes. Okay, our workforce housing project has a couple different legs in here. We did all the heavy lifting for a Stronger Community grant that I explained last month would improve all the infrastructure in Chris Mountain 2 and improve all the roads and the electric extension. We also were able to include fiber install with some of the broadband funding that we had from ARPA, and that was a RDOF area for Visionary. So we got all of that ready. We were able to obtain 7 letters of support. I thought it was only 6, but I didn't see the state habitat letter. We got several letters of support supporting our application for the Stronger Communities. This showed such a great collaboration between government, public entities, nonprofits, and community members. So we couldn't have been more pleased. The PLPOA wrote a support letter. The Andre Redstone wrote it. Julian Collier, who owns several lots out there, wrote us one. So it was really a great show of support. We also were just notified today, actually, that we have now been quantified as a rural resort area when it comes to Prop 123. Why I bring that up is because Stronger Communities, that funding is coming out of Prop 123. So this actually changes our AMI levels. It means we can go a little bit higher. We don't intend to right now, but for future projects, it actually opens it up for other people in the area to do development. So that's really helpful. We still have a lot of attention. The newspaper article that came out, I want to say last week, talking about our presentation to the Board of County Commissioners on the Stronger Communities, has also drummed up a little more interest in people wanting to look into becoming a homeowner. Let's see, what else? Okay, with this, at the very end of your packet, we have a letter. I've been sharing with you all along that I have a private landowner out there who wants to donate 2 lots to the CDC and include them in our workforce housing project. So that would take the 6 lots that the county is wanting to donate to us and add 2 to it, which would make it 8, which actually qualifies us for a couple different grants by having 8. So we're super grateful for that. This is the agreement and their commitment that they would like to put forward to the CDC to be able to start that process of transferring the deeds so that we can throw these into the hopper and get these houses on those lots at the beginning of next year. So this letter is clearly stating what they would like to see us do. The 2 lots that they are giving us is 32 Mansion Circle and 76 Mansion Circle. And what they would like to do is transfer the deed to us, and we would cover any of the costs. I did check in with the county attorney today and asked him like what's the process and what's the cost. He said it would probably be less than $20 unless I want to have a title company do it. But really Brian and I can go into the county office and we can privately do it.
I would recommend at a minimum that you at least get a title report.
Yeah.
To ensure that we have lawful and transferable ownership of the property. Without a title report, you won't know that.
Yeah.
Unless you go search all the county records.
Right. Okay. So what they are asking is that we use their 2 lots for the 3-bedroom, 2-bath units because they are a little bit bigger lots than some of the smaller lots that the county is giving us. So it really makes sense to me to put those bigger homes there. We will have a minimum of a 1-car garage, and if affordable, we'll put a 2-car garage in there. Each of the houses will be between 80 and 120% AMI because that's our part of this partnership with Habitat for Humanity. And then they will be deed restricted according to the regulations of any grant funding that we bring forward to help keep the cost down on those houses. What they're asking is that I provide them with a board approved plan by 12/1/23. And then a draft of the property transfer, how that works, agreement. Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add? Brian Reed is on. here.
No, Emily, that's good. I think that summarizes it pretty well. We're just trying to do some year-end planning and want to make sure you guys are still interested in these. And particularly in how you're gonna be able to pull this off. It's not easy. So we're working with Habitat right now. I am, and yeah, I think that summarizes it pretty well. Appreciate your efforts.
Great, thank you. So again, in here, I think the only risk that we have is, well, two risks. Number one, we have to have a fully baked plan by 12/1/23 for a minimum of these two lots. I don't see that being a problem. We're already working towards baking a plan. And then we would have to cover the cost of the deed transfer and the title report. Todd thinks it wouldn't cost more than $20. I don't know what a title report
It'll cost
costs.
a little more than that, a few hundred.
A few
You can get an
hundred.
O&E, so
Yeah,
it's not a full-blown like title commitment or policy,
right.
but it just shows you what the encumbrances are, if any, on the property and the vesting of it.
Okay. So I would say 200 to 300.
I haven't checked on the prices on those in a while, but somewhere under $1,000.
That's the only risk here, and we would actually receive 2 pieces of property that we can build on and make that a full eight household build, so. Because this is not budgeted, and because this is all part of this workforce development or workforce housing plan, I need to seek board approval here, and I don't know if you want to do that now or do it a little bit later.
What do you need approval from us for? What is the,
To enter into this agreement with Live Oaks Land
to receive the donated property?
to receive the property and also to spend the money because it is not budgeted for.
Transfer? Yeah, I would entertain a motion.
Can I ask a question real quick? So what does this do to our project cost in total? And is the bank willing to take on another 2 houses?
It actually has been included all along. This is just the formal paperwork. It won't change our budget on this project at all. I've included these 2 projects all along. This is just the formal process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So if we pull these reports and we find out there are additional encumbrances on these properties, will we still have the ability to withdraw the acceptance if it's beyond what we can financially be able to, what we'll be able to do? I think it's unlikely that would be an issue.
That's a very good point. Perhaps you could modify the letter to outline, a deadline for this to occur, that this agreement will expire after X period of time, 1 and 2, that, subject to, no other liens or encumbrances.
A clean title.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll motion with that amendment.
If there, I'm sorry, just procedural. Were there any other questions besides Warren's or comments? Okay. So,
Motion stands.
second,
Who's your second stand?
My second stand.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, so we will enter into that agreement with those modifications. We should hear back on the Stronger Communities grant somewhere around the 1st of November. If we are invited to put in a full application, but we've had a great partnership with the county. The county is the actual applicant. And just to refresh you, it's a 20% match and we get to use our properties and Habitat's properties as match. And we also have some broadband funds that we can use because it can't all be matched. We found that out when we filed the application. That's okay because we have broadband funds because we want to put fiber in there. So it'll all work together nicely. Bless you. We also have been attending Prop 123 workshops, which Pam Flowers just found out today that we are registered as a rural resort, which what that does for us is it changes our AMI levels. And instead of us being held to an 80 to 120, it now will go all the way up to 160% AMI. So that actually isn't going to help my project at all, but it will help developers that want to come in and access that Prop 123 money and want to build, you know, maybe a couple higher end units and then some workforce housing units. It just opens up the opportunity for more builders to build more diverse properties and more diverse inventory. So it's actually really good news. We thought we should have been rural resort to start with, but they just did rural, but somebody saw the light and changed it, and we're pretty thrilled about it. The last thing I have on my plate to share with you right now is by the end of this week, I'll be submitting a grant for $89,000. This is a grant that is leftover COVID funds that have been dealt out to the region. We actually got lumped in with San Luis Valley this time, which was really strange, but that's the way this worked. This is coming through the Office of Economic Development and International Trade. And this funding is going to be available to upgrade our computers and our printers, you know, do some of our equipment that we use all the time. And then also it's to increase capacity for economic development organizations. So this should be a slam dunk for us. We're pretty excited about this. And this funding could help pay for our workforce housing coordinator or other things that we are looking at bringing on as we move into later in this year. So this funding would not be available until January. So, but it would be awarded in October, so you'll know to plan for it. And other than that, I don't have a lot more to share with you because I'm still trying to sort through 300 emails.
That's all.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Unbusy Emily. Okay, Miss Patty, you're up.
So for this month, the CDC support included special meeting, workforce housing, quarterly membership meeting, July board meeting, and coordinating the state broadband meeting, which was great. I'm also working with Eric to develop a broadband speed test card and marketing plan. So we're going to try to get the word out there that people need to do the speed test for the broadband. And we're going to have that pulled together and hopefully distribute the information primarily in Hatcher, where they really need to get some broadband information. So we're working on a plan to distribute the information there and kind of get people to really take advantage of that, because it is a process. It's not just clicking the QR code. You click it and then you have to go through a little bit of a process. So we don't want them to give up when they just click it and it doesn't go immediately. They're working with the workforce development, the internships, getting all of the partners, the business partners reimbursed. We've got about right at around 50 of the interns that are still in their positions. We had a couple drop out, but only a few, and they're doing great. The people seem extremely happy with all the interns, and the interns that I've spoken with seem extremely happy with their positions. So it's a great win-win for the businesses and for the interns. For Main Street, we launched our logo and our branding and got that all finalized and distributed starting at the 4th of July parade. But we're working on today. We were just over at the Overlook at the reconstruction meeting for the town, and we had our banners up and we're giving out information to anyone talking about how we were going to be supporting Main Street through the construction process. We also did a tango event prior to the Spanish Fiesta, which was fun. So one of the goals is to kind of give sneak peeks of upcoming events, but we're supporting those events by helping promote them. So there's not a lot of investment other than just being out there, being seen, a little bit of investment in paying for the tango dancers, but it was kind of a sneak preview to help them promote their events. So we plan to do those pretty regularly to support the Main Street events that are occurring. We're having a meeting from the Main Street Board members or Main Street Colorado members next week. They'll be here to do a tour of historic Main Street. We're going to do a community meeting to talk about facade improvements because we're launching a facade improvement grant. And we have the Main Street architect who specializes in facade improvements coming, and he's going to give a little talk to the local businesses about what they can do in small chunks to improve their facades. With that money that we're going to be supporting them with. Let's see, the facade improvement grant we're getting ready to launch is going to be up to $2,000 for businesses to do upgrades like new awnings, some new fresh paint, maybe a new front door. Again, the Main Street architect has some really great ideas on what can be done for that in that 2,000 range. But there's also some microloans through the CDC that are Region 9 funded that they can kind of build on. So we're going to give them the grant, but if they have a larger project, they can apply for the loans.
That
And the
actually,
loans, we finance the loans, Region 9.
Yeah,
just that
we
keeps track
fund
of
them,
it. Yeah.
they administer them for us.
Okay, okay. So the CDC funds and Region 9 administers?
Yes.
Okay. So we're working on the details of the microloan part. We've got the facade improvement grant part pretty well underway. What we're hoping is that we can get some nice success in this first round, which is only $10,000 that the town has funded. And if they see some nice improvements in that $10,000 that we spend, because we have to spend it by the end of this year. If they see some nice improvements that we're able to help these businesses with, we're hoping that they'll fund it probably at $25,000 level next year. So they're really interested in facade improvements. Business engagements. We're starting our business engagement program where we're going to be talking to all of the Main Street businesses. We're identifying them right now. The town is collecting all of the data from the business licenses for the entire district that we're in so that we can make those connections. The board has agreed to divide and conquer, and they're going to look at the businesses that are close to them and that they already have relationships with, and then just start promoting the Main Street program and what we're doing and try to get people to come out and get a little more involved. And then when we have programs like this facade improvement, we can kind of directly contact them rather than hoping that they see it in their email or hoping that they see it in social media. We can actually have those relationships built. So we're starting that program as well, just again, getting the message out about Main Street. And that's where we're at right now with everything. Next week will be a big week with the Colorado Main Street visit.
Thank you for the updates. Patty, any questions for Patty? Is Beth? Thank you, Patty.
Beth is not on because
Okay.
she is
I read her
actually,
report.
yeah, she's working on a grant for the senior center that's due today.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's got her head down, and then we have a Betcher also for Build Pagosa that's due tomorrow. So she's just in it deep. And
Any questions for Miss Emily on Beth's report? No? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, for discussion, PSCDC grant update,
I kind
We
of gave
did
you the
the
grant update. I kind of
workforce.
gave you the
Rob?
workforce housing. I wanted to share with you that we have completed and we have in our possession a general liability insurance policy to cover us anytime we do anything anywhere. We're happy about that. The microloan fund will be working on that. Patty and I will be at the end of this week to try to put together a fully baked plan in order to be able to add it into the Main Street visit next week. We want to have that all teed up and ready to go. Region 9 sent us over the information, and we'll get that tidied up this week. And then we also have an enterprise zone training for businesses. How do you access those credits? How do you use them? What do you need to do to get registered or to get certified? So we have a training scheduled for September the 13th. We actually have sent out our first promotional piece of material on this. We have Region 9 coming over, the experts on the enterprise zone. They're going to be giving this class, and we have a training tomorrow ourselves on changes and things that have just recently happened with the enterprise zone. So put this on your calendar, because this is how you're going to be able to access those credits, how you can use them, and how they benefit you. And then how do you get certified? So that's coming on the 13th of September.
All right, thank you, Miss Emily. All right, at this time, I'm gonna ask anyone who is not on the board to exit the meeting. That would be probably whoever 264-2100 is.
That is the paper. You need to hit stop record.
We're entering into executive session, and if they don't exit, you need to kick them off. All right. Meeting back in session, as I would entertain a motion, for the item of discussion in the executive session.
I make a motion that we approve the item that was discussed in executive session.
Do we have to state what it was, or we can leave that vague? Okay.
Yep.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, any other items of discussion?
I do want to clarify, last month I told you that our membership meeting was October 9th. I was mistaken. It is actually October 16th.
Yeah.
We did send out an email after Shell brought that to my attention. I don't know where I got the 9th. I don't know how it got on that paper, but it's definitely not the 9th. It's the 16th. And then the very next day is the EDCC conference that our office will be attending up in Grand Junction. So
I will be there too.
I know that about you.
All right, well, with no further items of discussion, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Silence.
Have a good week.
You too.
We just wanted
We have to put these tables back like we did the other room. Okay. I gotta use the restroom.
I'll be back. You're gonna tell her what was discussed.
I will.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Do you want to do that?
Oh, I don't want those.